All right, for those of you tuning into the replay, we are going to start digging into onboarding in the quickest and most efficient manner that you can. And so if you're watching this, I'm hoping that A, either you are new, or B, you are leading new people. This is going to be a call that's going to be of high value to either one of those groups. Either you are new or you are leading new people. There are 4 phases of business here. Phase 1 is pre-licensing, phase 2 is onboarding, phase 3 is training, and phase 4 is growing. Okay? These are the 4 phases: pre-license, onboarding, training, and growing. Now, in each of these phases, there are some just things that need to get done before you move to the next one. In the pre-licensing phase, you're looking to finish the course, pass your test, get your license, get your E&O, AML, apply to Symmetry, right? Like, this is your pre-licensing. Once you've done those things and you've applied to Symmetry, we start the onboarding. Onboarding is going to look like contracting, which is literally getting your contracts lined up with each of the insurance companies so you are on their roster and you can write business for them. You're going to be learning the product portfolio. You're going to be setting up systems like Switchboard, CRMs, your schedule, and you're going to be writing your first policy, which is going to be on yourself, which I'll get into in a little bit and why that's important. Training is the third step. Once you write that first policy on yourself, you move over to training. In the training portion of this, we are getting leads. We are making 1,000 dials as fast as we can. We are getting in the workroom. We are tuning into training calls. That's the training section or part of the onboarding process. Then we have the growing part where we're setting goals, we're owning our results, we're practicing and honing that skill set. We're investing in leads, not getting leads. There's a difference between getting leads and investing in leads. We're investing in leads and we're tracking data. These are the 4 different phases of your business here. Now, I'm going to break down each of these. In phase 1, 2 weeks max. From the time you say, hey, I want to do this thing to the time you are done and licensed, 2 weeks max. Now, that is going to be difficult in some states. I'm going to specifically call out California because they have an hours requirement on the course. North Carolina, I know, does too. North Carolina is going to require 40 hours. So even if you could bang out the content quick, that course isn't going to let you. You're going to have a timer checking down, making sure you are not out of there any faster than 40 hours. Dina says California is the same in 60 hours. California, I think, is 52, 60, something like that. So even if you would be quick, that course itself is going to hold you up. You have other states, most of them, like Virginia, where I'm from, where you could tell me on a Thursday that you're in and you are testing on a Monday, which I have had people do because all they care about is the course get finished. Put a 1, no, we're on a 2 now. Put a 2 in the comments if you are in this phase right now. Put a 2 if you are in the pre-licensing phase of business right now. No 2s. Oh, we got Kelly here. Kelly, I see you. Rico Diaz here too. I see you. All right, we got a couple people. Most people in 2, I hope they're home and they're studying and they're getting through the course. If they're not on here. Those of you, Kayla's here too. Good. Those of you that are here and on the course, here's what I want you to understand. Do not try to retain the information on the course. There is virtually nothing in it that you need on a day-to-day basis working here. I was a registered nurse for years, and nursing school did not teach me how to be a nurse. Nursing school taught me how to pass a test. That's all this course is. So what I want you to do in order to make this as quick as possible, breeze through the course material. Don't try to memorize it. Don't take notes on it. Breeze through as fast as possible. Literally, next slide, next slide, next slide, next slide. Not even looking at it. Every chapter is going to have a quiz at the end of the chapter. There's a reason they're asking you those things. There's a reason they're wording it that way. You're going to use that quiz, which you're going to go through, and guess what? You're going to bomb it. Why? Because you didn't pay attention to anything in the chapter. but you're going to learn what the right answers are and you're going to memorize those answers. Then you're going to go to the next chapter and you're going to do the same and just breeze through, bomb the quiz, learn the right answers, put the right answers in the next time. Do that over and over until you get to the very end where you unlock the cram sessions, which are your mock state exams. That's where you're going to want to spend the majority of your time. You're going to want to learn all of those questions and get all of those answers. And if you're doing well there, you're going to do great on the state exam. Do not get bogged down trying to remember everything, because not everything is important. And you don't know what's important until you get to the chapter end quiz, and that tells you what's important. Okay, so that's my study tip for you. I have a checklist if you're in this phase. It's gonna be registering for the course, downloading and getting in GroupMe, testing. There's a checklist for this phase specifically, just to make sure you don't miss things. So if you're in this phase, ask your mentor for that checklist just to make sure nothing falls through the cracks. All right, second phase of business, onboarding. This is where you're getting contracted. You're learning the product portfolio, you're setting up your systems, you're writing your first policy. Again, 2 weeks max. Do not get stuck here. Now, where and why and how do people get stuck? They get stuck in SureLC because you're going to be invited to create your profile with SureLC, which is the third-party company that we use for contracting. SureLC is going to take your information as a conglomerate, and it is going to send it out to the insurance company, so you don't have to repeat yourself 87 times. That's their role. Now, they're going to have little dots on the required tabs, which are going to walk you through, and you're going to get to the last one, and you're going to say, I did it. I'm done. I created my SureLC profile. And you did. You created your profile. But what you didn't do was request the contracts with the companies. There is no dot on that tab. That tab is there at the bottom, but there's no dot there reminding you that you have to go do it. So you need to know, your mentor should tell you, that you need to request those contracts. So you're going to go to contract requesting, you're going to drop down the menu, you're going to choose the first company there, and you're going to answer those company-specific questions. Then you're going to submit that request and you're going to go to the next company and then the next company. This is the reason people get stuck. If they get stuck here, is they're waiting for contracting to come in, but they never requested the contracts. So keep that in mind. You want to request the contracts. Now, there are 3 companies, Mutual of Omaha, Foresters, and American Amicable, that you can write before you're contracted. We call it just-in-time contracting, meaning they will let you write policies before you're contracted. In this phase, you're setting up Switchboard. Switchboard is our CRM. You are going to go into HQ, you're going to go over to training, I think it's training or it might be tech, and you're going to go to the Switchboard and you're going to get all the Switchboard set up. That's our CRM. The last thing you're going to do here is you're going to write a policy on yourself. Now, that can go a couple of different directions. If you happen to be in the market for life insurance, this is a great opportunity to write a policy on yourself and get paid for it. Some companies will advance you commission on your own policies. Other policies will pay you what we call, or other companies will pay you what we call as earned, meaning as you make a monthly premium payment, they give you 1/12 of your commission, and that continues for 12 months until you've been made whole on that policy. You don't earn less, you just get paid month to month instead of the advance on what we call controlled business, which is business that you write on yourself or your household. Okay, but write a policy. Now, if you're like, Jim, I don't need life insurance. I came here to sell it, not buy it. Cool, totally good. Guess what? You're still going to write a policy on yourself. Why? I need you to practice the systems, the processes, putting it in. I don't want you to be with a client and get surprised. Now, what does that look like? It looks like we're going to write a super simple, super cheap accidental death policy that I do not care if you ever pay for or if it ever issues, and you can go ahead, write it, submit it, and cancel it tomorrow. This is not about you buying anything or spending money you don't want to spend. This is 100% about practicing quoting applications and going through the process so you know what the process looks like before you're with a client. Okay, talk to your mentor about how to do that. But once you write a policy, good. Onboarding section, here we go. I have a checklist for this section too, just to make sure you don't miss anything. So the minute you get that welcome email, this runs you from welcome email to new writer. Log into HQ, save your credentials. Log into Opt, save your credentials. Create your Sure LC profile, filling out all tabs, and what in big highlights so you don't forget it? Requesting all available contracts. Watch the 3 videos at the bottom of Larsen Life Onboarding, the onboarding page there. Start Summit in HQ, which is corporate's onboarding. Watch the new agent welcome video if you haven't done that from the first section. And then here it is, write the application on yourself, talk to your mentor about which one and how to do it. That's going to be your onboarding phase. Okay. Now we get into training. It's different than onboarding. Onboarding was getting things set up. Now we're training. In the training, you're going to get leads and you're going to make 1,000 dials. You're going to be terrible. Embrace it. Embrace being terrible. And I don't want you to take longer than 4 weeks before you hit the 1,000 dial mark. So getting leads, making 1,000 dials as soon as possible, getting in the workroom, tuning into training calls. Let me go back, and I'm here under the onboarding phase. Who here put a 3 in the comments if you are currently in the onboarding phase, meaning you have gotten your Symmetry welcome email, but you have not yet written a policy on yourself? Put a 3 in the comments. You're part of Symmetry, but you're not yet put a policy on yourself. Okay. All of these 3s, your next task, write a policy on yourself, talk to your mentor. We should have all of these 3s should show up next week as new writers. On the Wednesday night, I'm going to be announcing a ton of new writers here because all of these 3s are going to be new writers. That's your next job. Okay. Moving on to the training. Guess what, guys? I got a checklist for this one too. After you write that policy on yourself and your contracts have come in, you're setting up switchboard. You're getting your switchboard number, registering it for the A2P compliance. You're getting either Razor Ridge or B leads. Talk to your mentor about that. You're getting on the Razor Ridge Facebook page. You're going to be in the workroom when you're working. You're choosing 2 training calls a week to be camera on, engaging in comments. You're going to announce your brokerage on social media and help any friends and family you can to get yourself profitable and some wins out of the gate. And you're going to get on the SN Agency GroupMe threads, which is going to be their general one, their underwriting, and their recordings. Now, I didn't have you in those. If you're on GroupMe and you're like, wait, I'm only on the Larsen one, that's intentional until you get here. If you've already written a policy on yourself and you're at this phase, you should be on the SN Agency ones. The general SN Agency thread, the underwriting thread, and the recordings thread. Put a 4 in the comments if you're at this stage. Now, how I define this stage is you have written a policy on yourself, but you have not yet made 1,000 dials on leads. Who are these people? Where are my 4s? Okay, I got some 4s. They've written a policy on themselves. They've not yet made 1,000 dials on leads. Do you want to know what your next job is? Your very, very next task. Making 1,000 dials as fast as possible. Absolutely your next task. Absolutely, without question, that is your next task. Now, Karen Mountain drew a little blue line on here. I don't know how to unfix that. So, Karen, if you know how to unfix that, that's cool. If not, we're going to roll with your little cool little blue diagram you made for us there. Then we're growing. After we've made 1,000 dials, we have established, we have a data set. Remember, I don't draw conclusions from small sample sizes, right? So after 1,000 dials, I have enough data to draw conclusions. From that 1,000 dials, I know how many people answered, how many appointments I set, how many people I met with. I know that data. Now I can draw conclusions. You can't do that from 10 phone calls. You tell me you made 10 calls and you want to try drawing conclusions from that. I'm not going to have that conversation with you. The sample size is too small. I can't draw conclusions from that. That's why you get 1,000 dials under your belt. You get that practice, you learn that data, you establish that stuff. Once you're there, then we start setting goals. We work on owning our results, practicing our skills, looking at promotions. People want to come in here and look at promotions. Great. Get 1,000 dials. Then we're going to look at promotions. I won't do one before the other. I'm not going to talk about your goals until you've shown me you can do the work to get to those goals. Those don't compute for me. If you have never showed up for 30 dials, I can't talk to you about Slingshot. You haven't shown to do the work. Get 1,000 dials under your belt. Those leads are not about investing. It's why I said getting leads. You're getting leads and you're chalking it up to the cost of education. Do I think you'll make some sales? Yeah, I do. Maybe. But it's going to be way more about the cost of education, learning the scripts, learning the objections, learning the systems, learning how to underwrite, learning. You can make more money than a surgeon here. Don't be surprised that you're going to have to learn some along the way. We had our State of the Union call this afternoon, and Kate Reese, who I'm going to invite onto our call here, made over $500,000 last year on her own pen with her own production, not a team, not override, straight up her writing policies. It was her first year at Symmetry. Her writing policies made. She literally submitted almost $900,000 in business herself, made $500,000 on that. Her own effort, no team, no recruiting, just leads and writing business. So yeah, it's super worth getting good at this. Super worth it. But understand you're going to have to get good at this. Chris, I asked her what leads, and she says everyone wants to know what leads she gets. And I was like, hey, Kate, can I get on a Zoom with you? Just kind of get to know you a little bit. And she's like, everyone asks me what leads she works with. And she's like, I don't love the question because the answer is literally all of them. People are people and people need things. She's like, I will work B5 leads. I will work the guy in the parking lot. I will work B4s, B1s, A leads. I will work Razor Ridge search leads. I will work Razor. She's like, if you give me a lead, I'm going to talk to a human being and I'm going to find out what it is they're looking for. That is it. She does not at all for 1 second overthink anything beyond here is a name and a phone number. And the person on the other end of that phone needs something. She's going to be able to ask the questions to tease out and figure it out exactly what it is they need, what their problem is, and how she can help. That's all it is. She does not overthink what lead. She is awesome. She's another level. I'm talking about her not like she's like goals. She is another level. But even if you did half that, like that is legitimately cool. All right. So this is the fourth phase. Now, I want to get down to the bare bones of this whole thing. Straight up bare bones. 5 things. Get your license, request your contracts, write a policy on yourself, buy leads, and get 1,000 dials under your belt. Every single one of you should be able to look at this list and know exactly what your next step is. If you haven't gotten your license yet, your next step is getting through that course and getting your license. If you have not requested contracts, your next step, you have to have your license, but once you have your license, your next step is requesting your contracts. If you have requested your contracts, your next step is writing a policy on yourself. If you've written a policy on yourself, your next step is getting leads. If you have leads, your next step is getting 1,000 dials under your belt as fast as possible. 5 things, guys, 5 things. I bare bones this. I threw away checklists. Forget all the checklists, forget the noise, forget the drama, forget understanding we've got 18 different companies and what companies do I go with? And I need to understand this company and this policy. But what about this? And there's this website and there's that website and I don't know where to go. And what is HQ and what is opt and switchboard? And I'm so confused. Woosah. Get your license. Request your contracts, write a policy on yourself, buy leads, get 1,000 dials under your belt. That's it. That's it. That is this business. The rest of that stuff is going to come, and I'm going to get into that in just a second. Pay attention to these 5 things. Screenshot these 5 things, and you're going to screenshot it with Karen's cool little blue diagram in there for us. But screenshot these 5 things. This is going to be your business. Now, I want you to notice what I see very often, because this is the bare bones. This is like the minimum, right? There's a lot more you can do here to learn, to tweak, to hone. There's a lot more, but this is the minimum. Does anybody here put a 5 in the comments if you do not know what your very next step is? It's going to be one of these things. No 5s. Everyone knows their next step. See, that I make that promise to every single agent that comes into my agency. I will make you a promise that you will always know your next step. When you take that step, even whether you take that step, that's going to be up to you, but you're always going to know exactly what your next step is. I hope this is clear. This is very simple. There's a lot more I can add to it, and that's what the checklists do. But at its bare bones, this is all you're looking at. And I hope you screenshotted this, because if you ever get stuck, it's going to be one of these things. All right, now, here's what I see. If these are the bare bones, this is what I see. Get my license, forget to request contracts, post to Facebook, and wait for people to message me. Put a 6 in the comments if, I don't know, maybe so far that's what you've done. You don't want to fess up. I know there's some out there. This is not my 5 bare bones things. I gave you 5 things to know your next step. This was not it. All right. What else do I see a lot of? I see a lot of get your license, request contracts, get overwhelmed by everything, and then stop. That last one, that wasn't on my bare bones list. That wasn't on my list. You screenshotted that list, Tara Owens. I did that one month. I know people like Anna Allison. I did that. Yeah, we got people. That's me, Lydia. Yeah, I see you. I know. I've been in this game long enough to know how y'all do your thing. I know where you get stuck. This is not our bare bones, is it? You took a picture of that bare bones. This ain't it. What else do I see? Get your license, request contracts, buy 10 leads, and then get frustrated you didn't make a sale. Ooh, who am I talking to now? Where are my 8s at? Put an 8 in the comments. Put an 8 in the comments. Yeah, I see you. I said, that wasn't my bare bones, did I? After buying leads, I said, make 1,000 dials. I said, make 1,000 dials. I didn't say buy 10 leads and get mad. That ain't part of the plan. What else do I see? Oh, I love this one. Never actually finish the course or get your license and then message me again 6 months later and tell me you're actually ready this time. I think there's some of you here too. I actually love you guys. I love you guys. I love these people. I mean, in fairness, I was the guy that jumped in, that signed up and then quit and then came back 2 years later. So I get it. What else do I see a lot of? Ooh, I see a get a license, get contracted, write a policy on yourself, and then never see you again. All right, cool, I guess. Get your license, get contracted, write a policy on yourself, buy leads, and then just think really hard about calling them. Where are those people at? I get some laughs. Lydia, there's Lydia. She knows Jen Mancia. Yep. Write a policy, buy leads, and then think. The next step is not buy leads and then think hard. The next step is buy leads and make 1,000 dials. What else do I see? Get your license, get contracted, buy leads, listen to hours of live dialing and never actually call leads. Who are my people there? That ain't on my list. That ain't on my list. Bare bones, guys. Get your license. Request your contracts, write a policy on yourself, buy leads, and get 1,000 dials under your belt as soon as possible. Those are the bare bones. That is exactly what has to happen. And I want to zoom in on this get 1,000 dials because that's where people are getting stuck. I remember Andrew Jimenez was told, comes into this business 21 years old. He was told to make 1,000 dials. He banged it out in a weekend. Locked himself in his room, hit it in a weekend, hit it hard, did it again the next weekend. got through the learning curve fast. That phone feels like it's 1,000,000 pounds when you're first picking it up. You're nervous about your script. You're nervous about looking incompetent. You're nervous about a lot of things. After 1,000 dials, why do I have you do that? Not for any results. I just want that phone to get lighter. I just need you to build the skill of just picking that up and make it easy. It's easy. It's easy. You're just talking to people. People are people. I love Gina said that in the Ask the AO session the last hour I was on. You're just talking to people. People that expressed a need for something, and you're just a person, and we're just people. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Steph, you're absolutely right. That's why you just got to get through that so that the phone just gets light. We have onboarding videos. We have the workroom. We have team calls. We have live dialing. Can I tell you the reality of all those things? They're only there to help you dial. We have the onboarding videos to help you dial, not to replace dialing, but to help you get your scripts down. We have the workroom to help you dial. Why? How? Because it's going to inspire. You're going to see other people doing it. You're not alone. We've got the team calls to help you dial. Why? Because you're going to get inspired and start believing that, man, if these people can do it, you can do it. We've got live dialing that's going to help you dial. Why? You get to hear other people do it before you do it. But that stuff doesn't exist as an end in itself. All of those things serve the one purpose of you getting on the phone. That's the only purpose it serves. You do not move forward in this business if you're not calling your leads. You don't. All of these things only exist to serve that purpose. And I know a lot of you, you're waiting to feel confident when the only thing that brings confidence is practice. I want you to hear that. You're waiting to feel confident when the only thing that's going to bring confidence is practice. That's why you just have to get 1,000. I want you to do this. If you're so worried about saying the wrong thing or getting it wrong, here's what I want you to do. I want you to fake an accent. I want you to make up a name. And I want you to butcher the call so bad. You're going to butcher their name. You're going to butcher why you're calling. You're going to screw it up so badly, it can't be screwed up worse. And you know what you're going to realize? You're still alive. Everything's okay. They don't even remember who you were and weren't even listening anyway. And once you mess it up that bad, you ain't going to be worse than that. You're not going to die. Practice. I want you to practice this call script. I want you to practice underwriting. I want you to practice running the appointment. And I talk about this at several different levels. My family, you guys probably know, I'm a dad of two girls and a son, and my girls are teenagers, and they love themselves some Taylor Swift. So it is all Taylor Swift in our house these days. And if you've been following any of Taylor Swift, you know she's on this Eras tour right now, right? And this Eras tour is a 3-hour-long concert where she has practiced every highly choreographed move until she has completely memorized every single step of 3 hours long. Why? Because she knows at some point in the concert, she's going to get distracted by the crowd. And when she's done interacting and done with her distraction, she needs to get back into the performance without having to stop and think about where she is. She needs to just go. Yes, Lydia, muscle memory. If that is her level of professionalism, and you are here as a financial services professional, why are you less rehearsed than her? Why are you less practiced than her? Why is she more rehearsed in her profession? That's her profession. Here's your profession. Practice. So many of us, we're looking at the professionals that are up there and they're doing amazing things like a Taylor Swift. And let's say we were in the same profession. And she has put hours and hours and hours honing her craft. And here we are, like Stephanie karaoke night at Applebee's. We're singing the same song as her, but we don't know when to come in. We don't know when to stop. We don't really remember all the words. We're stuck. And we're wondering, why isn't the crowd responding to us like they respond to Taylor when we're singing the same song? We should get the same results, right? We're doing the same thing. And that's what I'm going to watch new agents. New agents are going to say, I'm using the same script. Why am I getting different results? Because that person has honed their craft. They have practiced every pause. They've practiced every nuance. They've practiced every objection. They know if the client moves the conversation this way and distracts them, they know how to pull it right back with intriguing questions. They know, they've practiced. There's a difference between a professional performer and someone at karaoke night, and the difference is very simply practice. But so often new agents are literally like, I'm singing the same song and I'm getting different results and I don't understand. I'll tell you why. I don't understand why you don't understand why. The why is, this is your first day in business and it's that person's 107th, I don't know, whatever, appointment run. Like, you're going to see a different result. Practice the call script, the underwriting, the appointment, practice. I've got all the training there. Practice it. Be willing to make a mess. Be willing to look dumb. Be willing to ask for help. This is all part of just being new. You're going to mess it up. You're going to get the microphone on karaoke night. You're going to sing the wrong note. You're going to come in at the wrong time. That stuff's going to happen. Why? You haven't practiced. Be willing to dive in. Now, I have a lot of help. There's so much help. The onboarding page, the workroom, the group me, that's apparently I never finished conversation. On that onboarding page, larsenlife.com/onboarding, Amber put it up in the links here. If you scroll to the very bottom of that, that page literally says, I need help with the phones. And it's got all the phone training you want. It says, I need help placing a client with the right policy. It's got all our training on underwriting and how to do that. I need help running the appointment. Cool. All the training you need help doing that. I need help with leads. Cool. All the training, it's all right there. It's literally right there. Now, I have you watch some of that stuff, but here's what I find, because I get a lot of questions from people that I'm like, I literally answered that in the video. Did you watch the video? Sometimes the answer is no. And then I'm like, well, okay, go watch the video. I made the video so I wouldn't have to answer the question 7,000 times. But here's why I know the question's being asked of me. Here's why I know. And I'm going to come back to this slide. Maybe I won't. Our brains are biologically wired to conserve energy. What does that mean? It means if your brain does not quickly understand how the information coming in applies to you, it's going to tune out. It's going to tune out. So often I'm asking you to watch these videos and you're looking at this and it's speaking another language and you're drinking from a fire hose and you have no idea how to apply this information and you have no idea what to do with it. And so your brain is tuned out, literally as if I was running a tutorial on Google Sheets and you didn't need to create a spreadsheet. If I started right now a tutorial on Google Sheets, half of you are exiting this call and the ones that remain are glossed over and tuned out. Why? You don't need that information. How about a soldering gun? If I ran a tutorial right now on how to operate a soldering gun, how many of you are leaning forward in and want to pay attention? Or let's say I was going to run a tutorial on how to make a good, really good beef Wellington. Who's leaning in? That's my point, is that I can give you the information, but if you don't yet understand the context in which that information is used, it doesn't matter that you watched the video. You watch a video on running appointments and you don't have appointments booked, you're tuning the whole thing out because you don't yet get the context. So when you're coming to me and you're brand new and you're trying to understand everything, I'm like, stop trying to understand everything. Because I can give you the information, it's not going to stick because you don't yet understand the context in which to place that information. There's a reason I'm peeling this off like an onion. There's a reason we're going step by step, because I need you to understand the context in which the information applies so that it actually sticks. When you've made 1,000 dials and I start helping you tweak your language, you're going to be like, oh, I heard that objection 5 times. That's how I overcome it. If I told you that ahead of time, you don't even know the context. When you've sat through an appointment and it hasn't gone well, and I'm like, hey, did you really uncover the problem? Go back and watch that video on running the appointment. You're going to be like, oh, that makes sense. Why does it make sense? Because you've been in the context in which that information is relevant. If I give you information before you have been in the context in which you're to apply that information, it's gonna be overwhelming. I peel this off like an onion on purpose, not like I am withholding from you, but I'm trying to give you contextual information that you can leverage and use on purpose. Make 1,000 dials. Because our brain will tune out information it doesn't know how to use. It's why it's vitally important for you to practice appointment setting before you worry about underwriting, before you worry about presenting options. I see so many people that are so worried about how to place people in the right policy when they don't even have a person to place yet. I see so many people really worried about how to run an appointment and they haven't even set an appointment yet. Don't worry about how to run the appointment until you have one on the books. Don't worry about it. That's not me withholding. Don't worry about 15 different policies that you don't even know the context in which to use them. All you have to do if you're new is make your 1,000 dials and set appointments. And then based on that one client's profile, we're going to uncover this policy and how to place them and where we went and why. And then when you're going to go sit in that appointment, we're going to uncover the appointment, how to run the appointment. We're going to uncover this layer by layer at the point it's relevant to you in your business. But I see so many people not dialing their leads because they're trying to understand 18 steps ahead of them that is irrelevant and overwhelming information. So they're frozen and they're not doing the one thing that they have to do if they want to grow a business here. Is that it? That's it. That's all I've got. That was my onboarding overview. Concerns, questions, or thoughts on that in the 7 minutes we have remaining? Who's got something really pressing for our last 7 minutes? Was this helpful? Like, was this good in cutting the noise and getting to the point? Good. I hope it was helpful. I mean, that's my point is I've just seen too many people come in and get stuck, So I want to identify where and why and how are we getting stuck so that we can get unstuck and also prevent new people from getting stuck. Stephanie Smith, this is one that's going to be watched again and again. Yeah, on that watched again and again, when you go to that onboarding page and you watch, say, that running the appointment video, that is not a watch it once and be done. That is a watch it half a dozen times in your first 45 days, because every time you watch it, I want you not watching it 6 times in a row, watch it once, go run a few appointments. Then come back and watch it again, and you're gonna be like, oh, I missed that the first time. That would have been so helpful. Then it clicks. And then you go back, and gosh, I mean, you guys know I'm not shy about my faith in any way at all. But this is why it's like scripture when you're going through a study of scripture, why so many things speak to you in a new way as you uncover, because your life experience is like, man, that's relevant to me here and now in a way that it wasn't back when I read it before. It's why our brain can't take in everything. It takes in things that are contextual to the issues it sees as relevant to us. And so, yes, you come in here and it's like a fire hose. I can narrow that to a garden hose if you let me. Sometimes I think people don't want to let me. They want the excuse of being overwhelmed to avoid facing the fear of dialing. Did I say the quiet part out loud? I might have just said the quiet part out loud. I might have done it. People are going to use the excuse of being overwhelmed to avoid the fear of picking up the phone. I just stepped on so many toes. Cameras turning off, people exiting the call. We went from what, 50 people down to 30. I stepped on all the toes right there. See, I can turn the fire hose to a garden hose and make it easy to drink, but you got to want to drink it. You got to want to learn it. You got to have a vision for what you're going to build here. And you've got to start getting curious and not critical. How am I going to do this? What's it going to look like? How can I take the next step? What is the next step? How can I get better? How can I get better? How can I get better? Curious and not critical. Rico Diaz, straight to the point, very helpful. I understand why there's a 1,000 dial goal. Practice does make perfect. Coming from someone brand new. If someone brand new can tell me they get it now, I did my job tonight, guys. I did my job tonight. I had one job. One job was make this thing take the fire hose and turn it to a garden hose. That was my goal tonight. And if I nailed it, fantastic. If you need to rewatch it again, rewatch it again. I'll post it in the afternoon tomorrow. If you need to rewatch all the things again, rewatch all the things again. They're all there for you. And every time you watch them, if you're plugging in, if you watch the dial scripts and you don't go dial, and then you watch dial scripts and you don't go dial, you're not learning more. You got to uncover new context in order to find new relevant information. So you got to take it, you got to use it, and then you got to go back. Take it, use it, then go back. That's the only way you're going to progress forward. All right. Everyone knows their next step, which is awesome. You're all going to go take that next step before our call next week. So if that's the phones, you're hitting the phones. If that's a policy, we got a lot of new writers here. That's getting your license. It's powering through your course and testing. Love y'all. Thank you for this. Yes, Michelle, go.
Gina put in the chat, explain 1,000 dials is not 1,000 people.
Oh, good. 1,000 dials is not 1,000 people, and you don't need to buy 1,000 leads to make 1,000 dials. We triple dial here. So if I've got a lead and a number, I'm calling. If they don't answer, I'm calling again. If they don't answer, I'm calling a third time. That's 3 dials on 1 lead. I can do that again tomorrow. I can get 6 dials on that 1 lead in 2 days. So yes, 1,000 dials does not mean 1,000 leads. It means literally just dials. That's good. Thank you for asking me to clarify that. And Amber, I had 4 out of my 6 contacts pick up on the 3rd dial of her live dial session. People are like, I don't want to dial 3 times, 3 in a row. That's going to annoy them. You know what else is going to annoy them? Dying without life insurance. People answer on the 3rd call, guys. I don't know. It's a magic thing. Amber, if someone calls me 3 times, I'm going to answer. Yeah, me too. They might want something. And then I find out it's a telemarketer, and I'm like, darn it, they got me. But if they're a human and they know how to ask really good questions, I'm in. That's the goal. Get them on the phone. If you got a triple dial to get them on the phone. And they're like, dang it, I thought it was important. It's just freaking a telemarketer. Cool. Own that. Own that and win them. Win them with your charm and win them with your good questions. All right. Love y'all. Have a good night. I will post this replay tomorrow. I'll post it up in GroupMe. Good night.